A St. Louis showgirl named Josephine Baker is one of the best-known black Americans to have lived in Europe. She was the toast of Paris in the 1920s, an era when black Americans started migrating to the continent. Another American who spent much of his life in Paris was Sidney Bechet, a major figure in the New Orleans School of Jazz. No one knows how many black Americans came to Europe over the years or how many live here now, but it's generally acknowledged that one thing that draws them here is less discrimination. Donald Jones is a celebrity in Holland. On this night, he's co-starring in the Dutch version of the play I'm Not Rappaport in a town near Amsterdam. Jones came to Europe more than 30 years ago with a song and dance group, and he's lived in Holland ever since.
Wat zou je zeggen van die junkies daar? Waarom ga je niet met hen bemoeien?
Is facing discrimination in the States part of the reason why you stayed here and didn't go back there?
Yes, because now I lived here. I lived here. You could go anywhere you wanted to go, and if you could eat anywhere, you could go in any hotel, and there was not that stopgap feeling from, can I go in that hotel? That disappeared slowly but surely, and I like that feeling. When I'm in the States, especially down south, there's a kind of a politeness these times, but that politeness still gives way to a feeling that discrimination is not completely disappeared in America. It's just been subdued.
Paris is a part-time home for Patricia French, director of Gazelle International, a new cosmetics company catering to dark-skinned women. Originally from Georgia, she now lives in both the U.S. and France.
I started a company here in France, and I've succeeded in building something and making headways for myself, which would not have been available to me in the U.S. In this case, being black was last, whereas being black in the U.S. and starting a cosmetic company would have been my first negative. The difference between American racism and European racism is that the Europeans let it be known we are racist, and either you fit the mold or you're out. And in America, you know, it's something that's sort of that's hidden back in the closet.
Joseph Phillips retired from the U.S. Army in West Germany. He now works for a pesticide company training third world clients in the use of the products.
I personally feel that racial problems exist throughout the world. It's how a person conducts himself. Of course, there's prejudices against certain people. For instance, in Europe, I find that there's no more prejudice against the blacks than there are against people like the Turks.
Blacks from Africa, the Caribbean, and the United States feel a kinship because of their color, but they're separated by their cultures.
I spend quite a bit of time, at least 3 to 4 days a month in Africa and West Africa. How do they view American blacks? They view American blacks as being more white than black. They don't really relate to us as being Africans.
See, I get in conversations with the Africans, and I say, well, you're lucky because you know your roots. I don't. Say, yeah, but you're lucky because you're American. Our roots don't mean anything, you know.
You should know who your ancestors are. We don't know that, and that's the biggest disadvantage that we American blacks have. We don't know who the hell our forefathers were, or which village we came from. I'd like to know. I'd love to know, but I'll never know.
Donald Jones is just one of the black Americans who most likely will never move back to the United States. But even though some may feel bitter about discrimination in their own country, they still say they're glad to be Americans. Walt Christofferson, European Journal, Bussum, Holland.